Factory 5 Roadster 6882. This is a summary video. There's some new things on here you may be able to tell. There's the footbox vent on there. I've got just a 3-inch, I think that's like a bilge pump. I just picked that up over at Academy Sports. And then we've got horn on here. And then some brake high temperature 3-inch duct work to try to help with the heat that's going to be coming from the headers. So just riveted it onto the 3/4 inch. It says to put it at a sort of an angle so it'll drain if you get water in there. I have this right now just fastened in one place. I'll rivet that later. And then I got these gates here. I can't remember where I got these gates, but there will be a little cable here that will attach here, a pull cable that will pull it open. Some trimming was involved so that it wasn't going to interfere with the steel, but it wasn't anything real big. So it was able to be completely closed or completely open with the fan going. I did test the fan. It does work and does blow a pretty good amount of air in there. Then the passenger is going to come in here, and there was also quite a bit of trimming there. However, that does slide open and closed very well, so that works. Emergency brake is in. It's not finished just because I don't have the final tightening. It's just the sheath came off a little bit when I was tightening and then pulling on the handle. I've got 2 pulleys here that I saw Paul do that keeps it above the 4-inch tube but still in line to where they don't get tangled. They then come up through what Factory 5 has in place for the cables to plug into. And then I ran mine through the rear end. I guess those are ears, what they're called. In order to do that, I cut the sheath. For instance, this one is cut right there. I cut the sheath so that it would be in 2 pieces, and I slid this side through the ear, and then ran the cable in there, and then it comes back out to this, and this side snaps into here. So really it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't slide anywhere, but it does hold the cable in a nice orientation. Kleiner said that he does that. I would imagine he does it better than this, but that's what I did. So the emergency brake cable's in. Let's see what else. Otherwise, just wiring, cleaning things up, trying to get things into looms, sort of fasten into place. I changed the hose clamps on the cooling system for these T-bolt clamps because I was warned that the worm gear clamps will slip off unless you retighten them after a couple heat cycles. Well, I retightened it and one popped, and I thought, alright, I'm not gonna chance this anymore. I'll just go ahead and replace them all. So that's what I did. You know, I thought about it at the beginning of just going with the T-bolts because a lot of people recommended it, but I decided to stay with what they gave me, and next time just switch it to the T-bolts. Alright, this is the lower radiator support that I made. That's a 5/16 inch threaded rod inside of a 3/4, maybe a 1/2 inch square tubing, and I've got some 5/8 heater hose that's slipped over there in a couple places, kind of zip tied into position. I've just sort of made these brackets here, use star washers to try to keep them from rotating. The radiator's at 51 degrees, and that lower support is just exactly that, lower support. that others have done, and I wanted to do that also. You know, most of the time on this build is redoing things I was thinking about doing the first time, but I didn't. And also the time is just modifications that I either see on the forum or just sort of comfort modifications. The power steering is right here. I had a leak on this AN fitting right here, so I was going to took this off in order to put on a little seal, and because I had wrenched down on this cable so much, this swivel doesn't swivel anymore. It doesn't swivel. So I've got another one on the way, so I can put another cable on there. So moral of the story there is, don't wrench it on it too much. Let's see what else. Just kind of going over it and looking at a few things. This cable right here is for the fan, the footbox fan. One thing I've been paying attention to is the 12-volt supply, and that is that I'm afraid, you know, I didn't take into consideration the first time that this may rub through if it's in contact with metal to where it could ground out. And after reading some on the forum, I learned that that is a possibility. So one of the spots for that is down in here. Now, this is the power cable that comes from the battery to the starter. Mike Everson mentioned to put this in a heater hose to help protect it, and I'm glad that he did, because I had it rubbing up against the aluminum, and eventually it probably would have worn a spot to where I would have been chasing that thing, just trying to figure out what's wrong. So whenever it came into contact with some metal, I put some heater hose around it. Otherwise, I had bought these clamps that have a rubber on it. Try to keep it held in place pretty good. See, right now I don't have the battery hooked up, but this is my light and phone charger. Got a couple USBs there. This does work. So right now I've got the most expensive phone charger in the land. That's all it does right now. Here's the remote terminals. I had this this ground post over here next to the negative, next to the positive. You know what I'm trying to say. But I didn't like the idea of a constant 12-volt supply here. So I put this switch in place to where if I need to jump it, I can just turn that to on, and now this will be connected to the battery. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it off all the time. Just makes me feel better that I don't have a positive 12-volt supply back there. We're close to being able to put that deck on, that trunk aluminum on, and I'm anxious to do that, because once I do that, then I can put the back wall on, and then I can put the cabin aluminum in place. So I'm trying to get everything done underneath the aluminum so that I can start putting it into place. Other things that I still need to do: wire up the heater. I've got little luxuries, I guess luxuries, things like headlight chime. I'd like to get that installed. Just a lot of electrical things I would like to get installed. Don't have the list in front of me. So I guess that's it for the summary. Need to do a lot of insulation, still a lot of wiring, but it's coming along.